Okay, we are on Oholot, Perek Hey Mishnah Vav. Our Mishnah is a continuation of the last Mishnah that we learned, which is talking about, the Mishnah said that, that these kelim, when you take them and you overturn them and you place them, when you place them on a hole to protect from Tumah, they're matzilim im devanot ohalim. That the ohel, that there has to be walls in some way. So as we learned in the last case, when you place this kli over here, the walls of the house count for this halacha. But we're going to see that the rules are a little bit more complicated than that, a little more involved. Ketzad says the Mishnah. How does this work? What does this mean? Habor v'hadut shebabayit. If you have a bor, a well, or a dut, there's two different kinds of wells, and they have mechitzot sevivotehem. There's like some kind of built-up wall around them. Probably so you don't trip and like fall in. Bor udut shneim bekarka. Both of them are both in the ground. Ela shabor b'chafira v'dut bebinyan. Bor is with digging, and a dut is with building. So let's see. We have a picture of a bor and a dut. Okay, a bor and a dut. Right, both of them are, our bor has dirt around it, and a dut is like, built up by brick or whatever, it's stone or whatever you want to use. Okay, and then ukfisha nituna alav, and you put this kfisha. This kfisha is this sort of basket. A kfisha is a sal gadol, a big basket. Shekovshimo as a team le kamran. They are kovesh. They are salt. They're drying out kovesh or salting, or the olives. I think to crush them, I guess. It holds more than 40 sa. Because it's so big, eino mekabel tumah. And you put it on this bor and this dut. So you have this huge kfisha, this huge sort of like basket that they used. And they would gather in the olives. They put the olives in it and let them dry out, let them soak, I guess, or whatever you want to do in order to pickle them. Okay, and what happens is the following: some person's going to die, so you don't want to make your kelim tameh, so you're going to stick all your kelim in the bor and you'll cover it over, and then everything will remain tahor, no problem, right? So the Mishnah says that only works if you have walls here, if there's some extension. So then bor v'adut, if you have a bor and a dut with these walls, with the structure, and then kfishan tuna alav, then the kfishan then tahor, then it saves, it's matzil from the tumah. Anything in the well, because it's tahor, because there's like a mechitza, there's walls. Im hayta be'er chalaka, but if it was a be'er chalaka, an empty be'er, okay, smooth be'er with no walls at all, a smooth well, o kaveret pchuta, or kaveret is a kind of, we're going to see, it's a kind of basket, like a kind of basket that they used in order they would stick the olives in. I think it could smush down, but it was up. Pchuta means that it was punctured in such a way, so it doesn't hold the olives, so therefore it's not mekabel tumah. Some of the girsa of kaveret, you see pitucha, not pechuta, not punctured, but pitucha, open. Okay, ukfisha netuna alea, and you put the kfisha on top of that, tameh, meaning if there's walls, it's tahor. But if it's just this thing, and there's no walls over here, then this kfisha won't work. The kfisha won't work at all. You can't put it over there. It has to have some kind of wall structure. But im haya neser chalak o sreida she'ein lehem gapayim. But if it's just a smooth board, or sreida is like this kind of like cutting board, this smooth work area, she'ein gapayim, that has no lip, then tahor. Why? She'ein kelim matzilim im tfanot ohalim ad she'yeh lehem tfanot. Because kelim can't save from tumah. If you have a defanot, then the kli has to have a dofan also. This kfifa won't work. I think it's interesting. The Bartanura is going to say that it only doesn't work, that the kli this only doesn't work if the kli has less than a tefach. We're going to see the end of the Mishnah. The kli has to have a tefach of wall. You don't have it in the picture. Okay, but I really think what the Mishnah is trying to say is these things had like handles and it had protrusions. So if you stick this on something smooth, it's gonna still, if you stick something like that, like this on something smooth, it's still gonna have openings. Okay, but if you stick something that has a protrusion, that has a lip, and you stick that on something smooth, okay, then it would work. But especially if it has a structure and you stick something over the lip, then it's going to create an enclosure. That's the sense I get from the Mishnah. But the Bartanura says it all depends. We're going to see if the kli itself is more than a tefach of a lip, then it can even work on these things. But nonetheless, so this thing doesn't work. It only works if you have these walls, these built up walls On the flat things, it doesn't work at all. And that's what the Mishnah says. That's my understanding of the Mishnah. Okay, the kelim don't save with difanot until they themselves have walls. Wow, the kamat they had dofen. How much does the wall of the kli, or the Bartanura says, or the kli, or the structure? How much does it have to be? Tefach. Hayala chetzi tefach mikan b'chetzi tefach mikan. If it's half a tefach of the kli, says the Bartanura, and half a tefach of the dut. If this is half a tefach, and the kli would be half a tefach, says the Mishnah, that doesn't work. Back to the Mishnah. Eina dofen. It's not a wall. Ajie la tefach mimakom echad, and you have to have a whole tefach on one thing, on the kli itself. So the Bartanura says, but, okay, he says, ha, the en kli matzil bebe'er chalaka. When is the kli not saved? On a flat spot, on a flat surface. Bekli she'en lo tefano tefach. If the kli doesn't have the walls of a tefach. Aval im yesh laki tefano tefach. But if the kli has the walls of a tefach, matzil ala bor. And then it would save the bor, afapi she'en tefanotav botim klal. Even if it doesn't stick out, if it doesn't protrude at all. That's the Bartanura's explanation. I think there are other ways of understanding it. I think another way to understand it is to say that the kli saves when it goes over, when it covers over the walls. But if it doesn't have but if it's flat, that's why I think this flat thing, if you use this flat cutting board thing, it could work even on a flat space because then there's no area. But that's not what the Bartanura says. That's just the way I understand simple learning of the Mishnah. I could be wrong. I'd love to hear your understanding of it. If you have an understanding than me, send me an email or a WhatsApp or a Telegram. Nobody's ever sent me a private Telegram, but there's always a first time. We'll dedicate our learning to memory of my father, Rav Simcha ben Yitzchak Kalman. Make it a great day.